the sacred offering for the temple.
Accepted in the name of the gods. The records show the temple's wealth grows.
Ancient Kemet, Egypt, operated a sophisticated, mostly cashless exchange system for thousands of years that is often loosely called barter, but was more accurately a form of money barter or unit of account economy combined with large-scale state redistribution. 192507, as scholarship. There were no coins in regular use throughout most of pharaonic history until the Persian period beginning around 525 BCE and more fully under the Ptolemies. Everyday and official transactions relied on exchanging goods and services whose values were calculated against fixed reference units. Units of value. The key unit was the deben, roughly 90 to 91 grams of copper in the New Kingdom. Earlier periods used slightly different weights. Silver and gold debens existed for higher value items, with corresponding ratios. A smaller unit was the kite, 1/10 of a deben. Grain was measured in volume units such as the hecat, or the larger kar, sack, about 77 liters, which itself had a conventional copper deben equivalent, often around 2 deben. Linen and other common commodities also served as value references. 392D9B, World History. These units function primarily as a standard of value and unit of account, not necessarily as physical media that changed hands in every deal. Two parties would agree that an ox was worth, say, 50 to 130 copper debens, a sack of emmer wheat roughly 1 deben, a pair of sandals or a jar of fat a certain amount, and so on. They then exchanged goods, or a mix of goods, of matching total value. Metal weights or scraps might be used to balance differences, but the deben itself was often imaginary. F0A402, World History. Prices appear relatively stable over long periods in the surviving records, especially from workers' villages like Deir el-Medina, more so than in many modern markets. State redistribution and taxes. Much of the formal economy was redistributive rather than pure market exchange. Farmers paid taxes in kind, primarily grain, livestock, and other produce, assessed during the periodic cattle count or following of Horus. The state and temples stored surplus grain in granaries. This grain and secondary products such as bread, beer, oil, linen, and meat was redistributed as wages/rations to officials, priests, soldiers, and laborers on royal projects. Workers on major constructions, for example, received regular payments in food and drink rather than metal. 5A8827, World History. This system provided food security against Nile flood fluctuations and underpinned the large-scale organization needed for pyramids, temples, and irrigation works. Private and market exchange. Local markets existed, and private individuals, including women, bought, sold, and bartered. Documents and ostraca record complex multi-item swaps valued in debens. For example, an ox traded for a mix of linen, grain, beads, and other items totaling the agreed copper deben value. Grain deposits in state or temple banks could also facilitate transfers via receipts. Labor was commonly exchanged for rations or goods. F3AC51, Africame, Facts and details. International trade with Nubia, the Levant, Punt, etc. followed the same logic. Egypt's grain, linen, papyrus, and gold were exchanged for timber, metals, incense, ivory, and luxury goods, again valued through equivalences rather than coin. Overall character. Scholars describe the system as money barter, barter conducted with reference to fixed units of value, rather than pure barter without any common measure. It mixed institutional redistribution, dominant in the state and temple sectors, with private market-like exchanges. The arrangement proved remarkably durable across the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms in later periods until foreign coinage systems were introduced. E36206, E-Scholarship. In short, ancient Kemet ran a highly organized, grain and metal weight referenced economy that allowed complex transactions, taxation, and large public works without minted currency.
Lord of the Brazier, accept our vow. To Baal Haman and Tanit for fertility of the skies. By fire we bind our oath.
Barter is the direct exchange of goods or services for other goods or services without the use of money or any other intermediate medium of exchange. Key features: 2 or more parties trade items they each possess for items they each desire. Value is determined by mutual agreement rather than by a fixed price in currency. It requires a double coincidence of wants. Each party must want what the other is offering at the same time and in roughly compatible quantities. No standardized unit of account, store of value, or medium of exchange is necessarily involved in pure barter, though many historical systems used informal reference units to facilitate exchanges. Simple example: a farmer trades a sack of wheat directly to a potter for a set of clay pots. No coins, notes, or digital currency change hands. Barter was the primary form of exchange in many early societies before the widespread use of money. In practice, pure barter is often inefficient for larger or more complex economies, which is why most historical systems, including ancient Egypt's, evolved hybrid forms that combine direct swaps with standardized measures of value. There is no single, unified, ancient African barter system. Africa is a vast continent with hundreds of societies spanning millennia. Exchange practices varied widely by region, time period, and culture. Claiming one exact, continent-wide, ancient African barter system is inaccurate. Accurate description of exchange in ancient and pre-colonial Africa. Most societies use some combination of direct barter, goods or services exchanged directly for other goods or services without an intermediate medium. This required a double coincidence of wants. It occurred in local markets, between neighboring groups, and in specialized forms such as dumb barter or silent trade, in which parties left goods at a neutral spot and withdrew without face-to-face contact, attested in West Africa from at least the time of Herodotus. Commodity money / multiple currency systems, far more common for anything beyond simple local swaps. Specific goods that functioned as media of exchange, units of account, and stores of value. Common examples included cowrie shells, gold dust, weighed to precise standards such as the mithqal, salt bars, iron rods, hoes, or spears, copper bars or manillas, cloth, especially luxury or standardized lengths, beads, livestock. These were not pure barter. They were standardized or conventionally valued items that facilitated trade across larger distances and more complex transactions. Unit of account systems without physical currency circulating in every deal. The clearest ancient example is Kemet, Egypt. Values expressed in deben, roughly 90 to 91 grams of copper, or equivalents in silver/gold, and grain measures, hekat, car. Parties calculated equivalences and swapped goods of matching value. Metal weights sometimes changed hands to balance accounts, but the deben itself often served as an accounting unit rather than a circulating coin. The state and temples also ran large-scale redistribution of grain and other goods collected as taxes in kind. Summary in exact terms. Ancient African exchange systems were predominantly forms of commodity-based or unit of account exchange, frequently mixed with direct barter at the local level. Pure barter existed, but was not the sole or dominant mechanism across the continent for organized or long-distance trade. Many societies developed sophisticated, multi-currency arrangements long before European contact or the introduction of coin money. Any definition that presents a single, uniform, ancient African barter system as pure goods-for-goods exchange without intermediate measures or commodity currencies does not match the historical and archaeological record.
These symbols are ancient.
Yes, they speak of a hidden chamber.
Where is it?
Here, the ankh marks the entrance.
In the ancient Kemetic Egyptian context, the exchange system, often described as barter or money barter, was not treated as a purely material or secular activity. It was embedded in the core spiritual principle of Ma'at. Ma'at as the foundation. Ma'at represents truth, balance, order, justice, harmony, and reciprocity. It was both a cosmic force, the ordered state of the universe established at creation, and a moral, ethical ideal that every person, especially the pharaoh, was expected to uphold. Fair exchange, honest valuation of goods, and proper redistribution of resources were practical expressions of Ma'at. Unfair dealing, greed, exploitation of the vulnerable, or hoarding that disrupted social balance was seen as isfet, chaos, disorder, injustice. Such actions were believed to threaten both personal destiny in the afterlife and the stability of the cosmos. The pharaoh's fundamental duty was to bring Ma'at and repel isfet. This included overseeing an economy that ensured people received what they needed through taxes in kind, temple redistribution, and regulated exchange. Practical spiritual dimensions, reciprocity and generosity. Wisdom texts, such as the instructions of Tahotep, stressed that wealth should be used generously and justly. One was never so happy as when giving happiness to others. Proper exchange reinforced social bonds and cosmic order. Temples as spiritual centers. Temples collected, stored, and distributed grain and other goods. Offerings to the gods and support for the dead, funerary cults, were economic acts with direct spiritual purpose. In the ka of the deceased so they could in turn sustain the living. Judgment in the afterlife. A person's heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. Honest and balanced dealings in life contributed to a light heart. Chronic unfairness could weigh it down. Divine kingship and stewardship. The land and its produce ultimately belonged to the gods, with the pharaoh as steward. Economic activity was therefore a form of sacred responsibility rather than private profit seeking detached from higher order. Broader ancient African contexts across many traditional African societies, exchange often carried similar spiritual weight through principles of reciprocity, balance with ancestors, and community harmony. Gift-giving, fair trade, and mutual obligation were frequently linked to maintaining good relations with the living, the dead, and spiritual forces. Disruptions in reciprocal exchange could invite misfortune or social rupture. However, these ideas were expressed through diverse local cosmologies rather than a single uniform system. In short, the spiritual significance of the Kemetic exchange system lay in its role as a lived practice of Ma'at, maintaining balance, reciprocity, and justice so that human society supported the ordered cosmos. Fair barter or unit of account exchange was not merely economic convenience. It was one way people participated in upholding. Ancient Kemetic spirituality connected human sexuality to the principle of Ma'at, truth, balance, order, harmony, reciprocity, and justice, and to the broader cosmological framework of creation, fertility, and divine forces. Sexuality was not treated as inherently sinful or purely private. It was understood as a natural generative power that participated in the same ordered cosmos that governed economic exchange, social relations, and the cycles of nature. There is no single Kemetic sexual doctrine equivalent to later systems, but the evidence from myths, art, medical texts, wisdom literature, and love poetry shows consistent patterns across physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, and cosmological dimensions. Physically, sexuality was regarded as a normal, healthy bodily function essential for fertility, pleasure, and the continuation of life. Medical papyri, such as the Abers and Kahun, address fertility treatments, contraception, including vaginal pessaries, and sexual health. Explicit erotic depictions, most famously in the Turin erotic papyrus, show a range of sexual acts with humor and openness rather than shame. Masculinity and femininity were strongly linked to the capacity to father or bear children. The body itself was not seen as a source of impurity in ordinary life, though temporary purity rules applied to certain ritual contexts. Spiritually, sexuality carried sacred significance because it mirrored the generative acts of the gods that brought and sustained the ordered world. Key examples include the creator god Atum generating the first divine pair, Shu and Tefnut, through an act of masturbation, the myth of Isis and Osiris, in which Isis reconstitutes and unites with Osiris to conceive Horus, linking sexuality, death, and rebirth. Ithophalic deities, such as Min, whose erect forms symbolize potent fertility. Associations of Hathor with love, sexuality, joy, and the revitalizing return of the solar eye. Human sexual activity was therefore seen as participating in the same life-giving force that the gods embodied. Egyptians also expected sexual life to continue in the afterlife as part of a renewed existence. Emotional and romantic dimensions of sexuality appear clearly in New Kingdom love poetry. These poems express longing, desire, affection, jealousy, and the transformative power of love. Lovers are often called brother and sister as terms of intimacy and equality. Wisdom texts advise men to love, feed, clothe, and make their wives happy while treating them with respect in the household. Emotional harmony within sexual relationships supported social stability and was consistent with living Ma'at. Psychologically, sexuality was integrated into a balanced human psychology under Ma'at. Desire and pleasure were accepted as part of human nature. Excesses or actions that disrupted social order, particularly adultery that threatened household and lineage stability, were regarded as isfet, chaos/disorder. Both male and female sexual agency are attested, though patriarchal structures shaped expectations, especially regarding fidelity and lineage. Psychological well-being included the capacity for joyful, reciprocal intimacy rather than repression or unchecked impulse. Cosmology. The Kemetic cosmos itself was gendered and sexualized. The sky goddess Nut arches over the earth god Geb in an eternal, near embrace that holds the potential for creation. Duality of male and female principles was fundamental to cosmic balance and ongoing generation. The annual Nile inundation was sometimes conceptualized in fertilizing, masculine terms that paralleled human procreation. Human sexuality, when aligned with Ma'at, was thus a microcosmic participation in the same creative, balancing forces that structured the universe, the seasons, and the afterlife. Connection to the broader Kemetic framework, including exchange systems. Both economic practices, barter, redistribution, fair valuation, and sexual relations were expected to operate under Ma'at. Fairness, reciprocity, and the avoidance of disruption applied equally. A household was simultaneously an emotional, sexual, and economic unit. Actions that destabilized one dimension, for example, adultery that fractured family resources and lineage, were discouraged as forms of isfet. In this sense, the same spiritual principle that guided honest exchange also guided balanced sexual and relational life. In summary, ancient Kemetic thought did not separate sexuality from spirituality or cosmology. It treated sexual energy as a vital, creative force that, when expressed in harmony with Ma'at, supported personal well-being, social order, fertility, and the ongoing balance of the cosmos.